Welcome back. It's your boy Seth Guru Baxter with MakerSpar Podcast, where we're creating 1 million leaders today for tomorrow. With us today are one of those leaders coming all the way from Morocco. Go imagine. Your guy Seth Guru is speaking to a beautiful lady in Morocco. Isn't that every man's dream? All the way in Morocco. She is the CEO and founder of MindImpact Consulting. She has worked with over several Fortune 100 companies as far as strategizing business strategies and had 5 years entrepreneurial experience as well. We are extremely pleased to have with us today Leila Lahbabi. Now, I'm working on my French accent there, so Leila, you're going to help me with that. Please make her feel welcome. Leila, thank you for joining us today at MakerSpar.
Thank you for welcoming me. I'm really happy to be with you here today. Tonight for me. It's today for you. It's tonight for me.
Oh, that's right. What time is it over there? You mentioned. What time is it over there in
11
Morocco?
p.m.
Oh my goodness, 11 p.m. I'm going to hope to keep my I'm going to keep my inside voice. Leila, we had such a great conversation prior to the interview, and you have such a beautiful history as far as what your strategies are and just the warmth that came from you. And I looked so forward to speaking with you that time. I'm excited to have you here with MakerSpar to go into Mind Impact and some of the strategies you work with your businesses on. And so I'm very curious to start at the very beginning. Tell us about where you grew up and some of your background as a young lady or a child growing to now, and what led you to this pathway.
Yeah, I grew up in Morocco. So I was born in Morocco, in Rabat, more precisely. And I grew up until age of 18. Like, I grew up in a family, a mother and the father, quite conservative, two big brothers, and I'm the little one. Yeah, so I mean, it was nice. I spent most of my time in the sun. So yeah, and I grew up here in Morocco. So actually, I love the country that I came back to like just 3 years ago. So after my first studies in Morocco, I then went to Paris to go to university there. So I studied in Paris, and then I started my career there in Paris. I've done engineering, like my two older brothers and my dad. So it was classical path for me. Just to follow and then to be the people pleaser, right? And then to do what the others want me to do. So I followed the path that was not actually my path, but from which I learned a lot. So I've done engineering. And then I went into consulting, starting. So I did my first 4 years at EY consulting. It was more for financial services. And then I moved into Oliver Wyman, so more strategy consulting. And I spent there 6 to 7 years, which I learned like a lot of different things from CEOs of Fortune 100 companies, trying to understand how they think, how they make decisions, how they base those decisions, like what's happening in their minds, right? And then there, I saw like we had so many great strategies that were really great on paper, but never getting implemented. And it was frustrating. Like, the most frustrating thing for strategy consultants is not to see like your strategy getting implemented. So this was one of the first thing to make me think, oh, something is missing here, right? Something is missing. And then I actually also burnt out at some point during my career, because like always trying to please, to do the things perfectly, to work until midnight, to make sure that everything is aligned, everything is, perfectly set, there is no mistake, all the calculations, mathematical calculations are done correctly. And then I kind of burnout, and then I met mindfulness, or mindfulness met me. And then I thought, like, I met mindfulness, and it was like, okay, so I was searching, just Googling, like how to reduce my stress, and it was not like just to change the path or anything. It was like, okay, so how how to reduce my stress, how to be like more whatever. And then I Googled it and I found something around mindfulness stress reduction program. And it was, based on science. And then they were explaining that with the neuroscience, it changed the way your brain functions. And then it helps you get more focused, to be more focused with less stress. And yes, this is what I need. This is how I went for it. And then I met mindfulness. I was like, oh my God, this is not what I had expected. I followed everything. So I was like just waiting for results, right? So it was 8 weeks. I've done it all. I've done all the exercises, all the meditations, everything. And I started seeing that I'm changing, that I'm living my life differently. That actually the life I was living was not exactly what I wanted, but like the one that others had designed for me. And I was like, oh shit. Something needs to change now. So I needed to connect at that point, started to connect into my, I call it like inner voice. So what is my calling, what I need to do, what is my purpose? All those kind of things were very new to me. Like for me, like just work and then you get money and then you continue living your life and then you have your life and then you have your work and then, those things are completely disconnected and don't work together. And then I became a mom. And then I became a mom. I was like, okay, so this is like the thing, like you have your life and you have your business or your work and those things don't connect. This is completely weird. Like it's not real. Like you cannot, like when you're a mom or whatever, like you're in your work and then you work, you think about your baby, or when you're a baby you think about like what you're, so everything is interconnected. And then I started understanding, oh, maybe this is why the strategies are not getting implemented, because people have problems. Because people have their lives, because people have insecurities, because it's not always aligned. And I started to understand the concept of alignment, like having your business or your work aligned with your purpose, aligned with what you wanted to do. And then I started my first business that was actually on mindfulness, like teaching mindfulness to others, because it's helped me so much to try and starting to realign myself with my purpose. Then I started teaching it. And when
Leila, if you don't mind, can we go back to mindfulness?
yeah,
For some people might have heard the term, but they might not be too familiar. Can you touch on that a little bit? What is mindfulness?
oh, this is a word that's really it's really personal to define, right? To define, but I will give my own definition, and I don't want it to be like it's not the truth. It's my definition, right? So my definition of mindfulness, how I experienced it, is for me like waking up, right? Or putting the light on your room. So imagine, as I was living, I was like living in like without seeing what was going on. And mindfulness is like being aware of what's happening, being aware of your emotions. I was feeling emotions, but not being aware of them. Like I was feeling, and the only word I was able to put on my emotions, like, I don't feel well. Not feeling well is well. It's not an emotion. How do you feel, Leila? Do you feel angry? Do you feel sad? Do you feel? I was not able to put some words on that. And on my thoughts, I was like, oh, I have a lot of ideas. And then I was not able to say, okay, this is a projection in the future that I'm making. Oh, I'm worried about something that was the past and I'm still thinking about it. Or this. So it really helps you increase your, say, consciousness, but being mindful. So it's not mindful, F-U the double L. It's moving from mindful. My mind was full into being mindful of what's happening, right? It's really
So a self-awareness,
self-awareness, yes. And not only self, it's awareness, right? Awareness about self, awareness about emotion, about thoughts, about body sensations. Like sometimes I was like working until midnight and then I I got up from my desk. I was like, oh, you have a backache. But the backache was like from 1 p.m. right until midnight. But I wasn't aware of it until I stopped. And because my mind was full my mind was full and I was not mindful, but my mind was full. So it's like you have the room, like you have everything, and you put the light. You put the light on what's happening. You put the light on what's happening within you, and you put the light on what's happening around you. This is why when you said self-awareness, I was like, it's awareness. Not only about self, also about interactions. Interactions with my husband, for example, when he's talking with his voice, he's talking also with his body language, he's talking, and being mindful about that is like being present with him and understanding like the different signals that his body and his vocabulary and his stories are saying. It's like really to be more present with my kids as well. Being here, like you said, being present. Some people said being mindful or mindfulness is living in the present moment. So this is one of the definition. Other will say it's awareness. And this is why I was like, it really depends. For me, if I was to put one word on it, it will be light.
To be light.
Light. It's the light. It's putting the light.
So when the
on
light is
yourself.
shining.
Yes, on yourself and the light on your life to be able to see what's happening within you and around you.
Now, it seems lately we as a people have been coming into this term mindfulness or present, and I just want to operate on mindfulness as it relates to being present, because you work with and strategize as a consultant for the businesses with everything that's going on that they have to do. How are they able to be present? Because they have numerous things. So your role is to help them to be present with that the balls that they're juggling regularly as far as businesses go. How can they stay present and you have all of those things happening?
Absolutely. And by being present. So when I took this, so my first business was to bring to teach mindfulness. And then the second one, which is MindImpact, is to bring this mindfulness into business. So what does it even mean? It means like when you're mindful, like, and there is a movement which is called also conscious capitalism, like being conscious about your business. Being mindful is like really putting the lights on you as a leader. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about this business? What are your intuitions? Listening to your own voice and not just only like having an external advisor tell you, this is how business works, this is what you should do, this is what you should do. So the standard way of doing business is like, you should use this framework, you should do business this way, otherwise you will fail, all those voices, for me, those are not true at all. There are so many ways to do business, there are so many ways to scale business, and the way that will work for each person is the way that is aligned with them and that is aligned with their intuition and aligned with their purpose. Because one of the things that happen, like you can scale a business, but the problem is scaling the business at the cost of your soul. And when you open a business, actually it's because you have a purpose that you want to pursue. This is what I call it, like the book $1 Billion Purpose. It's like you have a purpose that you want to pursue. And then you start with that and you have a product or a service that you love and that you want to share with the world. You want to share this value with the world. And then what happens when you scale is like you start to have this weight of having a business, right? It's like, I'm having a team, I'm having a responsibility, I'm having this, and then you're like, okay, so now I'm what? I'm founder, and then I'm CEO, and then I'm manager, and then where is my purpose and all that? And people telling me to go this way and this way and this way, but like, like you're in own business, and sometimes you open your eyes, like, is this mine? is this even the business that I've started? Is this what I wanted to put out in the world? And this is what happened when we get disconnected from the purpose. So when your mind starts to be full, Full, and you're not mindful about what you're doing. So one of my things, like to open this awareness, right, of the founder about their business, about their purpose, about connecting back, and keeping it while scaling. And keeping it while scaling, what does it mean? Is like attracting the right talent and the right clients that have the same purpose and that share the same purpose. Because when you do that, you amplify your purpose and you scale by amplifying your purpose. You don't scale by getting into a standard way of doing business. So this is exactly what I help my clients with, like get back to their purpose and scale from their purpose, and not scale something that they have built and that they look at and they say, this is not mine.
Now, how do you do that? So I have a business, Hippo Cafe. I'm coming to Mind Impact and I say, Leila, I need your assistance. Start from that point because I'm not quite sure as the business person what I need yet. I know I need to be more present, but I'm not sure how to do that. So start at the very beginning. So I come to Mind Impact, take me from that begin. I walk into your door until a year from working with me as a client. How do
Yeah,
you work with your CEOs?
sure. So the first question that I ask is like, how do you feel about your business? Not how do you think about your business. How do you feel about your business? Because it gets out from your mind and goes directly to your heart and to your intuition. And why I do that? Because sometimes your business could be going quite well, but then you have your intuition that is not going to last this way. So, how do you feel about your business?
Oh, I don't know how I feel about it. I like that I'm making money and I like that I've made the success, but I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Yeah. And then I go back to why did you start it in the first place? Right? So I get back into why you started in the first place. And then I do what I call like the voice of the stakeholders. What is the
Mm.
voice of the stakeholders? Not only the shareholder, the stakeholders. So what I do is like I go ask your clients what they think about your business. I go ask your employees what they think about you and your business. I go ask your suppliers what they think about you and your business. I go ask your investors what they think about you, about your business. I do some research, some brand research about you in the society. And we look at this, right? And say, so what do you want? What do you think like your company looks like? What do you want it to look like? And then you picture what you imagine, right? What you imagine is something that's aligned with your purpose. And then we put the lights on what's happening right now, what your clients are saying right now, what your suppliers are saying. And there is something that we say in conscious capitalism. It has been proven, and this statistic is in the book Firms of Endearment, that conscious businesses, so the businesses that bring value to all those stakeholders, right? They collect back value from them. So when you provide value to someone, you collect back the value. So it's normal, right? It's like customers that are happy continue to buy from you, like investors that are happy continue to invest in you, suppliers that are happy continue to offer you like the best deals, a society that's is happy about your product or your service talks about you. So you spend less on marketing, you spend less on pushing, and your business is more sustainable. It can grow over time. So those businesses that do this kind of assessment and make sure that everyone is happy with the value that they're getting, they're 10 times more financially performant than S&P. I know S&P right now is not the right is not the right example, but when S&P was, doing very well, they were 10 times more performant. It's enormous. It's enormous. So what I would say to someone who is willing to work with me is like, in 1 year from now, you will have a business you will be more happy about, that is more sustainable. You know that it will survive the ups and downs, and it will be more financially performant. So you'll get and you will have people that are willing to drive your business forward with this purpose. So you're not the only person on the ground trying to tell everyone what to do and burning your soul to deliver on your purpose. Because, you will have the collective intelligence of people that, brings that to the world. And I have a framework that I use that actually highlights a little bit of the methodology and how do we work together on the 1 year. And I call it the clap methodology.
Oh, wait,
Clap.
like clap like this?
Exactly. And there is
There's too many jokes in there.
yeah, and there is a proverb in Morocco, and it's inspired from this proverb in Morocco that says that one hand doesn't clap.
Mm.
One hand doesn't clap. So if you're willing to do something, you cannot do it alone. So you need at least two hands to hear the clapping. And as many hands as you will have, then the sound will be even bigger, in a big stadium, people all clapping at the same time. Can you imagine that? This is what a successful business looks like, right? Everyone is clapping. Your clients are clapping, your suppliers are clapping, your employees are clapping, everyone is clapping. So one hand doesn't clap. And the acronym is for C is the collective intelligence. It's like something that relies only on the intelligence of the founder cannot scale because the founder, he cannot be always available. Imagine if he's sick. Imagine if he has no inspiration at some point. Imagine if there is a problem that he cannot solve. So if it relies only on the founder, then it's really difficult to scale. So the C is for the collective intelligence, the empowering the team to be able to innovate, to be able to collectively bring ideas to the table, and the business can act on that without always like having the founder being involved in all the decisions. And sometimes it's the bottleneck, right? You have the founder that is involved in all decisions. This is not good for a business. So C is for collective intelligence. L is for leadership. And the leadership is cascading. And this is why I start with ourselves, like our leadership. Like, are we making space for others to step in, right? Are we making space for other expertise to come in? Are we making space for people better than us coming into our business and teaching us and having our ego? Like, how do we work with our ego with those situations? And cascading that through the company. So L is for leadership. A is for the autonomous team. And I always say my clients, if you recruit people to tell them what to do, you will always have people coming to you to tell them what to do. A is for autonomous team. And P is for people. So business without people doesn't work. Like, if you don't have people buying from you, you don't have a business. If you're not serving people, you don't have business. If you don't have people paying, you don't have a business. Like, we can talk about AI, all those kind of things, but like, ultimately, business is for people that you're serving. Right. So you need people that understand them, and you need so the clap is about people, and those this acronym, like the C, it's like those are statistics from diverse studies that I can share with you later. Is like, C, it increases your performance, collective intelligence by 30%, right? And then leadership, it's by 20% at least. Autonomous team, it increases the performance of a company by 40%. And having like even people retention is like increasing your performance by at least 20%. So if you compound that, is more than 150% compounded effect if you work on your people, and if you do the strategy that is aligned with you without having to conform to a specific framework.
Now, have you patented this idea, or this is a methodology that you came up with in particular in working with your clients?
Have I what?
Have you patented? Well, I said patented. This is a proprietary method or strategy that you use in coaching the CEOs. Now, I'm curious, you mentioned a couple of times along with that was conscious capitalism. I really like the way that sounds as a free market person. And I'm just very curious, explain that a little bit, elaborate on that, because I really would like to discuss that a little more. So conscious capitalism.
Yes. So conscious capitalism is like, capitalism is like, you work with money, right? So it's exchange of money for value. And conscious
Pardon me.
is saying, it's not saying money is bad, money is bad, you should not do money, you should be, no, money is good, but there are conscious way of making money. So you can make money while bringing value to the world and without hurting the planet, without hurting people, without hurting the society. Having products that are like, your product is good for the people that are buying it. You're not just selling it to sell it, but then people who consume it, it's not good for them, right? It's good for the planet because you're using some materials that are great. You're not burning a lot of things. So conscious capitalism is going back to this value to stakeholders, value to society, value to clients, value to employees, value to suppliers, value to investors, always thinking about increasing the value to those 5 stakeholders instead of having just a value increase for the shareholder. So just profit, right? Just profit at all costs. So if your employees are not happy and you're making profit, don't care. If your clients are not happy, but still you're making a lot of profit, we don't care. It's like being more aware of your environment, and that increases the long-term value of your business. So you're not maximizing sales now, all the sales now, and then I need to make money now, and then building and having your brand decrease over time and then nobody buying from it, right? But then having a compounding effect of delivering as much value as you can to all your stakeholders so that you create a compounding value over time and you build a legacy. You don't just build a business that runs for 1 to 3 years, but you build legacy that compounds over time. And this is the link with the book, and this is why I call the book like $1 billion purpose. It's like just purpose alone. If you have a purpose, I mean, building a business from it brings value to the world, right? It brings value because your product or your service is great. It brings value because you're treating well your employees, and then you're creating an environment where people can work and can serve a higher purpose and can, make money from it and have their families and then, work in a bit. Not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone, but everyone wants to serve a purpose, right? So when people work, they go to work and say, oh my God, it's not just work, but I'm also serving something that is bigger than me. It's amazing for everyone.
So if I'm understanding, so conscious capitalism is it's similar to a good person I just have gotten the pleasure to know, Ben Joya, who talks about business. He says influence with the heart, and it seems like this is the direction we're going as well. So conscious capitalism is utilizing your business acumen and skills with the heart, creating businesses that have a heart intention, that have a consciousness behind them, and it will help drive your business toward that $1 billion, so to speak. And I'd like to talk about that too. So the $1 billion purpose is not just about the actual material financial $1 billion. It also is saying an invaluable business, but $1 billion seems to be the correct way to term it. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, because for me, I mean, less than 1% of businesses are able to scale. It's the number, less than 1%. It's like, oh my God, like 400 companies, there's just one which is able to scale. So one of my mission actually is to help those purpose-driven businesses scale. And this is why I talk about $1 billion. Like it needs to be something that is big enough to create an economy of good business. Because if those businesses stay small, then it's difficult to, build a resilient part of it or build And when I say billion-dollar purpose, it could also be network. It's not only one company, but a network of businesses that work together to scale this economy. And I'm really happy that you talked about Ben, because Ben helped me write my book, right?
Oh,
It's crazy. Ben was my book coach.
how funny is that? Oh,
So
yeah.
funny. Yeah. And I just found him on internet. I didn't know about him.
He
I
is
was like,
incredible.
oh my God, I was like, I need someone who really understands this thing, this mindfulness thing. I don't want just to write a business book, right? It needs to be something, it's special. And this is for me, like, it's when you find your person, right? When you find the person you want to work with. There are so many coaches out there. There are so many consultants out there. But then you meet someone in the internet and then you look at like, this one.
Yes,
I
yes,
want this one.
yes. Then his heart and the way he describes it. So that's why there's similarities because, and I think the similarities are not just the only thing in common. But if you know, Leila, I do believe we as a group of entrepreneurs and or business persons and or life coaches, whatever the industry might be in, because of times being there's a spiritual dearth that I think is happening. So I feel that we're trying to create businesses now that do have a heart because we as human beings are looking to connect again via social media, etc. But we are still wanting, well, now I think we become more aware, and you tell me if you agree, and I think we become more aware in the business community. The business can keep us separate from self and from connecting and heart. And so now more and more the people I'm running into via Maker Spark and business persons, we're trying to use our heart as a lead for our business. And I'm really enjoying seeing there seems to be a resurgence to make businesses have more of a purpose, a heartfelt purpose, and not just a financial gain, but a heartfelt purpose that does result in a financial gain, but that we are leading more with our spirit. That seems to what I'm seeing businesses lead toward. Is that the same thing you're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have so idealized, I don't know if it's a good English word, having a big business and a successful business, right? And at the beginning it's like, oh my God, they are so successful and so on. And then when you start like going in the room with those people that have built like billions of dollars of business and they are CEOs of really big, huge companies, and then you look at them, right? And then they see like not all of them are happy. And then it's like, so what's the point? And a lot of them, like, they have missed family dinners. They have they have sacrificed their lives for their business. They have sacrificed their lives for their careers. And then even like the sons of those people, like, they don't want to take the business. They don't, and they're like looking at their father and their mother, and it's like, I don't want this. I don't want your life. And it's like, oh my God, I've built all this business for you. And then, it's from love. They built it for their children. And then their children are looking at them and saying, I don't want this. You have lost your soul into that. And we have this new generation of people that have seen their parents like pouring their soul into their work, pouring their soul into their business. And then it was not, I don't think they did it in purpose, right? On purpose. Most of the time, people who have scaled businesses that are what we call not conscious, they didn't do it because they're bad people. They did it because of fear,
Fear
right?
of lack, a fear of lack, and a fear of not having.
Fear of a lot of things. When you have a business, you have a responsibility. You have people to feed, right? You have families that are working for your business. So sometimes it's like, oh my God, I fear that my business will not be competitive if I don't do it this way that I'm being told. And a lot of founders have been like pushed into that. If you don't do it this way, if you don't scale this way, this is the only way. And then you need to get strong. You need to be hard. And then they were invited to close their hearts in order to protect their business. But this is not the only way. And then we found out that this is not the only way. and that there are only ways of doing it, and that there are people that actually led with their heart and were successful. There is Patagonia, there is Salesforce. There are so many other businesses that were able to do that. And when I say $1 billion purpose, is like those, when they scale, they are examples, concrete examples that people can look at and say, okay, if they were able to do it, I can do it. And why we are moving more, for me, into these conscious areas of like people, being more conscious and allowing themselves to bring their heart into business, is like that they see that actually there's nothing to fear because people have done that and they succeeded as well. So it's safe. It's safe to be vulnerable. It's safe. There are so many leaders who's like, they don't want to talk to their team and say, oh my God, I don't know where my business is going. And then I'm afraid, because they fear that their team will like say, oh, this is not a good leader. And we have been taught leadership for years that you need to man up, right? You need to man up. You need
Man up, yes.
room and you need to man up. And this new generation, they don't like people who man up, because people who man up is like people who disconnect from their heart. It's like, you're not relatable. You're a robot.
Yes. Yes.
Now, when they see like when they're vulnerable, people around them are willing to help and say, okay, so how can I get you back? How can I do this for you? And like, there's a human behind. And they used to say also, it's lonely at the top. It's lonely. We've seen people say that it's lonely at the top. It's only
Often. We've heard that for years and years and years.
it's only lonely at the top when you close yourself and you isolate yourself, you isolate your heart from your surrounding. This is what causes loneliness. But it's a learnable skill.
So tell me, do you have a different methodology in working with and I'm just curious to lead into my next question with this first question. Is there a way you work differently with the genders, a different mind impact strategy with male CEOs versus female CEOs? Or do you find that the CEOs and entrepreneurial mindset doesn't have a gender difference and you can approach both of them with the same methodology you use? Is there a difference in how you approach your CEOs based on gender?
I will tell you, differently.
And speaking of CEOs, because you are a CEO yourself, so I'm just curious if you find there a difference.
The first thing is like the way I lead is a bit by example. For example, I could have here as a background something which is very list, very professional. You know what I have here? Those are pictures from my kids. Yes. And I have no problem into showing that into a podcast that is going to be recorded, put on YouTube and whatever. Why? Because this is also part of me, of my life. And I'm working also from my house. And this is, and here like my kids come and then they go and stick things. So I take myself as I am and from where I am. And I take the others as they are and from where they are. Right?
So not a difference between the genders.
I would say a lot of difference from a person to another. A lot of difference, because as they are, as they come, there could be difference in gender. There could be difference in culture. There could be difference in so many acts, in ages, right? There could be difference in colors of the skin. Could be difference in so many things. And each person is, for me, singular and needs its own attention. What I hate the most is people projecting their frameworks at me without even trying to understand who I am and where I come from. This is what I hate the most. It's like when I go with a coach, it's like, I have my framework and my framework has been proven to work for everyone. I'm like, I'm not everyone. And then they put your statistic at you. It worked 99% of the time. And what if I was the 1% who's, it doesn't really work. So I have, I would say, an approach which I guide people through.
Right. It's individualized based on the person.
Really and this is why I do mostly one-to-one. mostly one-to-one. It's individualized because everything needs to come from the founder. Everything needs to come from the purpose of the founder. So some of the things will be common. For example, I would do a voice of stakeholders for all my clients. So this is a methodology, right? I would do that. But then the insight that would come from it will shape a different strategy based on who they are. I have different framework that I use, for example, to work them through their identity work, or to stress, or to compassion, or to like scaling. But then I need to pay really attention to the person that is in front of me and how they're reacting and responding to what I'm giving. So I would say my strengths are less in my framework, but much more in my personalization, and also the way that usually most of my clients don't have the same culture as me, don't have the same language as me, and don't live in the same country as me. Why? To not make projections. So when they start working with me, I have a beginner's mind. And I have a lot of clients like from UK and US, and at the beginning it's like, yeah, but it doesn't work like this in US. Or it doesn't work like this in UK, or it doesn't work like this in Portugal. And this is a reactive thing. And actually, we all human beings, and when we process that, we see, so the way that I'm outsider of their culture make them reflect on their, autopilot way of responding that is really similar to people that are in the same country as them. And because they copy them without being aware of it, and the fact that they're working with someone who has nothing to do, like we said, a girl from Morocco, has nothing to do with their culture, nothing to do with it, they can reconnect to who they truly are and what their actual purpose is without any projection or preconceived way of thinking about their environment, which makes them even more creative and even more centered on their purpose they want to pursue.
I'm curious along those lines. Do you see a difference between a CEO and an entrepreneur? I've heard a couple of different things. I've heard a CEO is an entrepreneur that has a title. Then I've also heard an entrepreneur can become a CEO because they had the idea that built the company. And I'm just curious, you as both a CEO and entrepreneur, is there a difference between the two?
Yeah, I love this question. I love it so much. And this question makes me laugh each time I talk about this. And I will tell you why. So, entrepreneur. Entrepreneur, not years, but decades and decades before, who was entrepreneur? Like entrepreneur name was used for really small businesses that nobody heard about. Like an entrepreneur is someone who hustles, right? It has these connotations of hustling and not succeeding. And when someone tells you I'm an entrepreneur, like, oh, poor you, you're an entrepreneur because you didn't fit into a society. So you're an entrepreneur, like you're doing things yourself. And then there is the CEO, the chief executive officer, like the big title, I'm a chief, and you hear chief executive officer, the Fortune 100 in a big company, he's the CEO of this, and it comes with like also some ego, right? Chief executive officer. And when you're starting out, you can start with the mindset of an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Which is, I'm going to hustle. I have a problem. I'm going to figure it out. And I know that for many years, I would not probably be profitable. I will probably live on the couch at my parents' house, or, you have this idea. So you could start with that. Or you could start with the ego saying, I'm going to be the CEO of my company. And when you start and you say, I'm going to be the CEO, chief executive officer, and I had some people like that are my friend, and we were talking, and it's like, oh, I'm a CEO now, and like in LinkedIn, a lot of people put in CEO, and they have very small business and put in CEO, and I was like, yeah, you're not a chief executive officer yet, guy. You're a chief everything officer.
That's a very good way to put it. chief everything.
Because you need to handle everything yourself. And like if you have your product that try to sell, and especially like when you're a tech, you could be selling the products and products look like shit, and and trying to sell it. At the same time, you need to do your marketing. At the same time, you need to do your accounting. At the same time, you need to convince to search for investors. You're a chief everything officer,
It
right?
makes sense. What a great way to look at it. That's fantastic.
And then, like if you have the humility to be the chief everything officer and the entrepreneur, yeah, and you go through it, then you can be a chief executive officer. And to be a chief executive officer, it means that you step back and you're not only like the musician who plays the guitar, who plays the piano, who plays the violin, and then you're the head of
Just
orchestra,
conducting.
like you said, that
Conducting.
conducted. And then you have, like the opera, everyone, all your team is operating really smoothly, and then you're here, chief orchestra officer. You become, chief orchestra officer. This is the main goal. You're orchestrating things. But most of businesses are not able to get into that because they think one of the things they think they're already chief executive officer when they're only chief everything officer,
There's a
right?
difference. Yes.
Yes. And then they're so attached to their business that they become the bottleneck.
They themselves become the bottleneck.
Yeah, made themselves become the bottleneck. So there's a lot of humility, there are a lot of questioning, there are a lot of adaptability, there are welcoming others, and then building something together. And the chief executive officer, the music is done by the musician. So we must never forget that
Mm.
without the musician,
Elaborate on that.
don't
Elaborate on
have
that. And is the musician the chief executive officer or the people who are part of
the
the company?
people
That's
who are
right.
part of your
Hmm.
company. So
Hmm.
when you're chief executive, like you're head of the orchestra, I don't know how do we call it in English. The guy in the opera who
He's
makes
the
the
or he's the conductor.
conductor.
He's the
Yes, this
conductor, or she. We also have women conductors as well.
he or she becomes the conductor.
Hmm.
But imagine yourself as a conductor. You're doing this. And
Yes.
you have no musician in front of you.
Yes.
Or you have this and you have people that are not aligned. One is playing this kind of music, the other is playing other things, and then it sounds really like noise, not music. You're not a conductor.
Yes.
It's a lot of work
Yeah.
to not do the work. It's a lot of work to not do the work.
I get that. And I think that's a great way, that's a really great pathway into discovering that because I think in some of the conversations I've had in describing what is the mindset of an entrepreneur and what is the mindset of a CEO, because I've seen entrepreneurs become chief executive officers from the chief everything officer to CEOs also becoming entrepreneurs again, where they've started their business, but they have such an entrepreneurial, get ready, get going, get started business mind. They're constantly creating businesses. So to me, there's a slight difference where the CEO can have an entrepreneurial mindset because they constantly want to create new businesses. And I've discovered there's somewhere the drive is just for the profit, just for the financial profit. Then there's others who are CEOs and they really are looking to make things better for people, make things better for society. So they have that entrepreneurial spirit too. I've created this tech company that's helping people. Now that one's successful. I want to create another company that's going to help create drinking water filtration systems to help mankind. And I wanted to make money, but it's with my heart. So I've been discovering more of that. And I think in these days and times, we are looking more as entrepreneurs and CEOs to make conscious capitalism a part of our dialogue and a part of our focus in our business creations. And I find that. Now, I'm curious for you, in your own work and expertise, for you, describe the mindset of an entrepreneur?
Hmm.
What is the mindset?
Hmm.
So they've come to you and they worked with you for, I worked with Leila and mind mapping for 3 years. I'm at the epitome. I feel like my work is, she's been so helpful to me. And I'm at the epitome, a pinnacle of my success as this company person. What is that mindset, the correct mindset of an entrepreneur or CEO? Once they've done the work with you, they've done your strategies, they feel like they're making conscious capitalism a priority. They're making their business influence with the heart. Now describe that mindset of that successful entrepreneurial CEO person who's worked with you.
Yeah. Oh, I love this question. So what you just said about like entrepreneurs willing to, start things and really resonates because for me, an entrepreneur is a problem solver.
Mm. Oh, I
It's
like that.
someone who sees a problem and willing to solve it, right? Someone who sees a problem and willing to solve it. It's just like, as I said, one hand doesn't clap. So there's a difference between seeing a problem, willing to solve it, and starting to scratching the surface into solving this problem, then having a big company that solves this problem from end to end, right? So when you scale yourself from being the problem solver to the CEO of a company that solves problem, so you become from the entrepreneur, you have an entrepreneurial journey, an
Mm.
entrepreneurial spirit that grows. So when you grow your business with the spirit of the entrepreneur, with the spirit of problem solving, and this is why I call like you scale your $1 billion purpose. So the purpose is still here. You're a problem solver at scale. And like 3 years from now is like you don't have to be the only one who's solving the problem. So when you're entrepreneur at scale, it's like everyone within your business is solving the problems of your clients. And this is the big difference between scaling a business that relies on you, being you the entrepreneur, and then you have all your organization, that is the support functions, whether that having a purpose at scale. And purpose at scale, what does it mean? It means you're able to scale your mission. So, and I discussed a lot about this. What is the difference between purpose and mission, right?
Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
You want some highlights on that
I
difference
would
between?
like that. Yes, please. Absolutely.
Okay,
I,
so
I, I just, I was just excited that you were getting to that point.
yeah, so your purpose is the things that like the the problems that I want to solve is something that within you is like, I need to do something about it. For example, if I take my own purpose, my purpose is to have people that have successful businesses and a fulfilling life at the same time. And this is a problem that I always wanted to solve. Right? So I want that. I want people to be successful in their life and successful in their business. And then I had the mission. And my mission evolved over time. So my first mission, I didn't know how to do that. I didn't, like it's too big, like having people having business and being good at work, it's too big. So I started with a mission. My first mission was to bring mindfulness into people so that they can feel better within themselves while having a work life. It was my first mission. And it was smaller. And then when I started doing this, this was my first entrepreneurial journey. It was Mindful Academy. When I started doing this, I was like, okay, so now, people are spending 80% of their time, at least in their business. So I need to do something about that. I need to go solve another problem, which is related with the same purpose, but it's another problem. And I was like, okay, so let me help people because I know how to do strategy. I have done strategy for more than decades. So let me help those people and do it in a different way and bring mindfulness into the business. And then I will help people scale mindfully, consciously. So this was a bigger mission. And this is how I scaled my business. It's by scaling my mission first with the same purpose, helping people be successful and fulfilled. So the founder is successful and fulfilled. People that are working for that are successful and fulfilled. So I'm helping more and more people by increasing my mission. And this is what I help people with. Like, they're always problem solvers, and then their mission scales as they scale their company. So scaling your mission, one of the first step. And then, when your mission is bigger, you need more people. You need to attract and retain the right talent that understand this mission, and that help you put it like to the word. And then you scale yourself to become the CEO, so that you're not the only one who's solving problems. And then you scale your people to be able to adapt, to be able to problem solve. And then you use the collective intelligence. And then all of you are serving a higher purpose with bigger and bigger and bigger mission, with more impact, with more clarity, without losing yourself in the process, without losing your soul, because the way you scaled is attached to scaling your mission, and not just adding processes and adding add-ons, products that have nothing to do with your initial product. So everything is under the same umbrella. So you're able to scale your mission. You're able to scale with having the right attraction and retention. For example, like Patagonia, they have 4% turnover. You know what is 4% turnover? It's like, how people like they stay within the company because they share the same purpose, they share the same mission, and then they're able to scale it. It's amazing. Like companies like lose so much money into retention and attraction of talents, and then getting them to understand what they're doing within the business, and then they lose the quality. And then imagine people like staying, and like the quality can improves over time. Your collective intelligence improve over time. So it's like you're a CEO of entrepreneurs. Imagine that.
Oh, okay. Good way. Yes, 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 yes. I like that.
So everything is entrepreneurship at scale, right? CEO of entrepreneurs that collectively work together and iterate. It's also the entrepreneurship mindset is like to fail and to iterate. And you have this say, okay, I didn't do it. I didn't. What did I get? Like, why it's not working? Why I have this feedback? Why my product is not working? Why my service is not working? It's always been in this iteration process of entrepreneurship at scale. So in 3 years from now, you're not the only entrepreneur. You'll have a lot of entrepreneurs around you, and you're all working in sync for a higher purpose and the higher mission that you couldn't have done alone. This is this is what I love helping people with.
That makes sense. Well, I'm also very curious. Mind mapping 5 years from, I'm sorry, MindImpact 5 years from now. Where do you see it as a company?
5 years from now, I will see it in the way I'm describing what I'm doing here, what I see as my clients. I'm also seeing my business this way. I'm not seeing it as just Leila being the face of it and having people in the background helping me out with design, help me out with video making happen. And it's already happening, right? And this is what I love. Like, oh my God, I had my photographer this weekend, and she took pictures of me when I was in Paris. And when I went back, like this weekend, I saw a post, like she posted a picture of me. And then like the picture that I sent you, she was the one who drew it. And then she wrote a text. And I read it. And I read it twice. I was like, did I write this text? And I was in tears. I was like, oh my God, if the people who are working with me, we speak the same voice, and then they read through me, and then they're here to transmit the same message, I think I've done it. And I was like really crying. Imagine like when you have someone who's writing something for you, it's like, it's better than if I had done it myself. This is where I see my business in 5 years. A lot of people doing what I'm doing today with my clients. Now I'm the main face of the brand, and I see a lot of people doing it for my clients, for our clients. It's not mine, our clients, in the same way that if I was personally with the client, or even better. This is my vision for MindImpact.
And Billion Dollar Purpose. When can we expect that book to come out? Because you're also an author, I meant to mention earlier. So when can we expect that book to come out?
It's coming out April, May, like
Of
really
this year. Of this year.
of this year. Yes, like it's
Fantastic.
in the last round of proofreading, and I had the chance to have like 2 forewords. One is written by Elisabeth Moreno, which was like the Minister of Equality of Genders in France. And she was also CEO of a big company for HP in Africa. And she's also head of a big impact VC. So it was
So I'd
really,
like to interview her. I would like to interview her.
yeah. She's a lovely woman. Like if you interview her, like the interview would be mind blowing. And I had a second one from Jerry Colonna. And he was like, "Oh my God, I love this book." I was like,
I'm going to
so
be
yeah, it's
looking for
coming
my
really
copy.
soon, and it highlights all my approach with everything that I discuss with you here and much more.
I'll be looking for my copy as well. And Leila, where can people reach you to get more, if they want to get connected with you, and or if they wanted some consulting from you, and also to get some advice as a CEO and entrepreneur yourself? Where would you like them to reach you at?
Sure. So my best profile is my LinkedIn profile. So there you will have everything. Like you will see my servers, you can also see my posts coming on, my newsletter, everything is there. So my LinkedIn profile would be a great like way to, it's like my shop, you know, if you go to my shop, it's my LinkedIn profile. And I also have recorded a video that explains my approach, how I approach that. So if people want to look at it, it's free. It's a free training and they can go and access it. It's less than 30 minutes and it highlights all the approach. And then there is a button if they want to, you know, move further, take a call, have a discussion and see if they want, you know, to go with me on a journey for a shorter or longer time, then we can discuss that during the call and see if you're both fit for each other and move it from there.
That sounds good. Well, Leila, Lahbabi, Habibi.
Lahbabi.
I am so thankful for you being here with
You know
us.
what Habibi means in Arabic?
No. Isn't it
It's,
a headdress? It's a headdress. Am I
no,
right?
it means darling.
Darling.
Yes, like
Oh,
Habib is like the loved one, like someone
loved
who is
one. Okay.
appreciated. Like, you know, it's
Oh, okay. Okay. Habibi. Like loved one. Oh, I like that very much. I like that. We are so pleased to have you with us today. I have enjoyed our conversation outside of this interview as well, and I'm just looking forward to my book copy and the success you're
yes.
going to have, and our follow-up interview coming in after that. We at MakeUsPar, you are exactly the type of CEO and founder, and I mean Chief Executive Officer and Chief Everything Officer, because I know you're a mom and a businesswoman, and so we appreciate you being here with us, especially all the way from Morocco, which is even so awesome to have you spend time with us. We thank you so much.
Thank you. It was really a pleasure to be here with you, to have the discussion and like to respond to your questions. I'm like, yes, this is a great one. This is a great one. It was lovely. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, at MakeUsPar, I do like to close with telling you that the revolution is the revolution that we all want. A revolution of love. Let's revolt and show that in our hearts and in our minds, our purpose is to turn things back into a purpose filled with love. So that's the revolution that we want. It is a love-volution. If you like and enjoy the incredible CEOs and authors and other industry professionals that we're bringing here to you from MakeUsPar, please press like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear more from you and the incredible leaders and innovators that we have here at MakeUsPar. We are hoping that we are growing fast and it's growing insane, and we're just looking forward to bringing you more content. So if you're enjoying what you're hearing and seeing, please tell others about MakeUsPar. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm your boy Seth Garu Baxter with MakeUsPar, where we're creating 1 million leaders today for tomorrow. And this is one of your most beautiful leaders that we had the opportunity to speak with today. Leila, thank you so much again with MindImpact Consulting. We're looking forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you, Seth.
Thank you, Leila. Love and peace, good people. Until the next time, this is your boy Seth Garu. MakeUsPar. We are out. Next time.